Welcome to Chris's Chef Studio, and this is the launch of a new program here. I'm going to be doing this randomly throughout the month. So if you are a subscriber to our channel, you will get to see different chefs step into our studio, and we'll get to have conversations with them and talk to them and make something with them and just have a good time, basically, for half an hour or so. And we'll talk to as many local celebrity chefs and everyday chefs that we can. And I'm really excited about our first one. You just saw her on the Food Network last week, and she won Food Network's Chopped Sweets. And I am so stoked to welcome Rebecca Reed into Chris's Chef Studio. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So, due to COVID, we're both masked up because we're within 6 feet of each other. And we're here to not only talk about her experience on the Food Network, but she came out not too long ago and visited the Commissary. And she got to see our green initiatives that we're working on. So she got to see our worms and our bokashi composting. So her recipe is going to be gummy worms.
Yes.
Awesome. This is great. She's paying homage to our worms. And I'm so excited about that.
I'm so excited too. I know when I'm given a task that I get to do and I don't have an oven to use, I really kind of have to think through it. And when I saw those worms, I knew just what I would do.
I'm so excited. So what all's involved in prepping gummy bears, gummy worms, gummy items for whether it's for a dessert topping, a garnish, or the main item?
So what we'll be making today is really just a garnish. I found these really cool molds. They look like gummy worms, and they're going to help us out today. What goes into our gummy worms is gelatin, sugar, corn syrup. I like to use some citric acid to really bring out that vibrant cherry flavor. And today, to just be extra fun, and because I love this stuff, we're going to be using some filthy cherry juice. So I don't know if you're familiar with this stuff. I love these things. They're delicious. They're called filthy cherries, and a lot of times bartenders use them for their drinks.
Oh, cool.
And when they do that, they just strain out all of the cherries. They strain out the cherries, and they leave me with all of that awesome syrup. So we'll be using that filthy cherry syrup to make our gummy worms. And if you know anything about me, you know how cheesy I like to get with some of my desserts. I love the wordplay. I love to really just have fun with it. So get it, filthy cherry gummy worm. So it's like dirty. This was actually a garnish for a dessert that I had at Black Sheep, and it was a whole play off of a dirt cake. So
cool.
You see how my
yeah, this is great.
So,
this is great. I know in the catering business, it's a little bit different than the restaurant business, but we live on themes.
Yes, they're so fun.
Yeah, so what are you going to do first?
Okay, first step is we need to bloom our gelatin. So you see I have a bunch of gelatin sheets right here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move them around in my quart container a little bit, and I have a little bit of ice water. These things are going to start to soften up pretty quickly so I can work on our next part, which will be adding our sugar, filthy cherry juice, and also a little bit of corn syrup to our pot. So
okay,
sugar, filthy cherry syrup. I love this stuff. It smells so good.
It does smell good.
And it's really sweet. And you can see I have sugar. That's sweet. The syrup. That's sweet. And also a little bit of corn syrup. And that's also sweet.
Yes.
So we definitely need to balance out all of the sugar. So what I like to use for a lot of my desserts is either lemon juice or citric acid. And today I have citric acid hidden for myself right there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to go ahead and add that into. Citric acid is a great thing to use for desserts where you would like to add some acidity but we don't want to add a large amount of liquids. So if I added the same amount of sourness to this, just using lemon juice, it would be a lot of lemon juice, and it would throw off my whole ratio, and this wouldn't set as well. So instead, just get that citric acid in there. And I'm just giving it a stir. We're over medium heat. What we're trying to do here is to dissolve that sugar.
Okay. So we're looking for a very smooth consistency.
Yes. And Chef Chris, I know you have these gummy worms, so you tell me, or you have actual worms.
Yes.
I play with gummy worms.
Yes.
I don't typically touch the actual worms.
Yeah,
So
I get to play
color.
in the I get to play in the dirt.
I get to play in like sugar and cocoa powder that I make to look like dirt, and I call that getting my hands
There
dirty.
you go. We get to do, in the kitchen when we're doing different themes. That's one of the things that we like to do is to immerse ourselves in a theme. And it sounds like that you're doing just that.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of times with the dessert, what people are expecting and what I like to give them is something that kind of brings back something from their childhood, some kind of a happy memory, some sort of nostalgic something, because people love dessert and they love those happy references from their past. And if I can invoke that in a plate that I give someone, it makes me so happy too.
That's awesome. Is that how you do your menus for the Black Sheep Restaurant Group?
Yes, a lot of times, I'll be honest, I have learned from mistakes. What I like to do is put things on the menu that I like to eat. So it is typically something that references something from my childhood or something that I know that people like to eat, especially during a certain season. I really like to feel the moment, what's happening around me, if there's cool things that other purveyors have, or if there's a different company that has a really neat product, I'll try to use that in some of my desserts. So that way, whatever it is does kind of invoke some memory for me, but also is in the moment with whatever we've got going on.
Right.
So you see bubbles.
Yes.
Which is perfect. We have come up to a boil, and now I'm just going to turn this pot off. I'm going to take it off of the heat. And I'm going to check on our gelatin because we have our gelatin blooming over here. And
cool.
If you'd like to feel this, you're welcome to. Basically, what we're looking for with this gelatin, I like to use silver leaf gelatin. And that just refers to how much something will set and the final texture. And silver tends to work really well for my recipes. I break it up a little bit. If there's any still kind of firm pieces in here, then I'll just wait for it to totally soften, and then it'll be ready to add to our syrup over here.
That's awesome.
Another minute or two.
That's no problem. And now when you're developing your menus for the 3 different restaurants, are you doing those on a monthly basis, or are you trying to do those, I'm sure now more than ever with the Food Network Sweets Championship and you winning, your time is now crunched.
Yes, it's funny. People ask me all the time, like, whoa, you're in charge of pastry programs at 3 different restaurants, 3 different locations. You don't have one kitchen to prep everything. You're kind of running all over the place. How do you do that? And it is a lot. And, anything that you add will, take up more of your time, more of your energy, all
Right.
of that. But I couldn't do the things that I do without the support of the team that I have at each location. So while I get to come up with a lot of the vision for what we're doing, I have great capable people that I work with, and they really allow me to be able to do my job well.
That's great.
There is no way that I could actually make all of this dessert with my 2 hands.
No, but to be able to be supported like that in our industry is amazing.
Like any relationship, they take time.
Yeah.
You have to get to know the people, and they have to get to know me too, and kind of figure out all the little things that drive me crazy.
Yeah.
And, after we kind of get past that, everybody normally does great. It's a relationship, and the more you give, the more you get, just like in other relationships in your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The more you work hard and the people around you work hard with you, the more they want to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I find. And then, so when you're doing things like the different TV shows around town right now you're a hot commodity. So
I am so excited, and it's so surreal to hear you say that. So I'm just going to enjoy this little moment.
you're just a hot commodity, Rebecca.
It's so fun.
I mean,
It's so fun.
come on. So what do what's going to keep this momentum going for Jacksonville? What do you foresee? What should other pastry chefs and other chefs try to do? Because you weren't the first.
No, and hopefully I will not be the last.
Right. So, what are the steps people should be thinking of?
I feel like for me, it was really important to do something like a Food Network show to show other people like me that it is possible, because it's like in art, if you're trying to draw something, if I'm trying to paint something, it's so helpful if I can reference something that I've seen. Even creating a dessert, decorating a cake, if I can reference something that I've actually seen before, it's so much easier to bring that to life. So for me, I wanted to do something like that so I could show somebody from Jacksonville, a pastry chef, could get on something like that, a mom, a woman, a small person,
Right.
all of the things that other people might see as obstacle to overcome are things that really have allowed for my success. And I would love to be an inspiration for other people and a role model, just so people can see, it is possible, you can do it. And if, somebody else who, went through those things is capable of doing this, how much more can everybody else do? So
Right.
I hope people pick that up and run with it too.
I do too. I think it's great. I think every step that we've had with the other chefs being on the Food Network, and you stepping in, and then who's next? I mean, that's the fun part. What's going to be the next big thing? Because right now you're the wave. It's like, woo!
Yes. Oh my God,
it's so cool, and it's cool to watch. I mean, I couldn't be more excited for you, and for women chefs and moms in Jacksonville to see that this is happening right here in our town. So it's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our gelatin looks ready.
Our gelatin's ready. Yay!
So it's nice and soft. There's no unhydrated pieces of it yet. So I'm going to add this to our syrup mixture.
Cool.
So that is going to go in. I know it looks like a ton of gelatin.
It does look like a lot.
Well, it looks like a lot because it is a lot.
That looks like a lot.
So we want our gummy worms to set and have that nice gummy bounce to it.
Yeah.
So you do wind up just using a pretty obscene amount of gelatin.
Well, I don't think we should call it obscene amount. Maybe.
A
I mean, we'll get away with it.
I know. So I have just stirred these in, and the important thing, if you are making something with gelatin, to just keep in mind is that you would never want to add your bloom gelatin to a mixture that is still boiling, because that'll start to break down your gelatin. So what I like to do is just take it off of the heat, let it come down, make sure there's no simmer still going on in there, and then I'll add my gelatin. And since this is still so very nice and hot, it will melt the gelatin really quickly. It really evenly disperses, even just stirring it with a spatula. And you can see it already starts to look like it's cooking. But this booger is hot. It is very hot. So what we'll do next is use our ice bath.
Okay.
So we'll take this, pour all of our syrup into our ice bath, and I'm going to stir this.
Yeah, and so yeah. So this is great. So you're just basically bringing the temperature down, so we can get it into a mold, and we can have our gummy worms and all of that. So when you're on the Food Network, what was the one thing that you thought of that you thought, man, this is just so cool? What was the one thing that stood out that was just so positive?
Okay, before you said just like so positive, like the maybe most surreal moment that I had was when you walk in, they have the judges set and Scott Conant, the host, is standing right there, and the contestants walk in and they have you file in, they tell you which station you're gonna stand at. And when I got there and I stood at the station, it was so surreal. It was like, this is happening. You know, you prepared your whole life for this moment and you're just kind of like white knuckled, like so excited and so ready for everything to happen. It was really fun. And then like the most positive thing, I like winning was the
Well, yeah, that's the, that's the top echelon,
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. Really getting through that first round. The first one was rough for me.
Yeah, we were watching and or listening and watching and on Facebook.
Yes.
And with the community Zoom that you had going on, we were watching it, cheering you on, from our house. And I was just thinking at that moment was, because you had kept it such a good secret. I mean, it was amazing.
I'm so happy. I feel like a lot of people were like, I think that she won because she won't talk about it. And I was like, well, I don't know what to say because I can't say anything. And the mask maybe really, really helped me out because
I think
I'm not
so.
very good with secrets.
Because you couldn't, you couldn't say anything, but you couldn't see that you couldn't say anything.
Right.
So, it's like masks right now in restaurants. You can't see when somebody's smiling.
That's so true.
Hopefully their eyes show it to you,
Or I don't know if you find yourself like over exaggerating every expression that you
Yes,
have.
yes.
I feel like I do that. Or if I'm in the kitchen, I need to communicate something to somebody far away.
Yeah. Or speaking louder.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I feel like I just like only get so high.
Yeah.
The other day I did something I thought was so funny. My daughter knows baby sign language, and our daycare taught her a lot of it, which has been great, and we've reinforced it and all of that. So I've learned some of these sign language things. And with the mouse, with the loud kitchen, I've used this is more in baby sign language, and this is all done. And I was waiting to hear if we had any more tickets left, and I said, are we all done? So the servers start going like this, and they're thinking that I'm just like having my own little happy moment.
There you go.
And I'm trying to
See?
say, all done? Are we all done?
Are we all done?
I know, it's
Yeah.
silly.
More.
Yeah, more. Are there more?
Yeah.
It's
That's
so silly.
great.
Okay, so this is starting to set up on me, which looks good. It kind of looks like a booger right now. That is why we are using a mold. I promise it will look like a gummy worm in the end.
That's awesome.
So the really important thing to keep in mind here, if you have these molds, you can buy gummy bear ones too that are really cool. And then you can come up with whatever flavor gummy bear you want for a garnish for like soft serve at Bellwether, whatever it is. It's really fun. I've done honey gummy bears, or you can get crazy. You can have watermelon gummy bears, or like anything that you can think of and figure out how to flavor. So you'll need these molds, and then what I like to do is spray it pretty well with some non-stick spray. This is going to help everything to release. And if you don't do this, trust me, you will regret it. So we'll get that in there.
Oh, I can just imagine.
A little bit of this mixture here, and it's going to look funny. But I also brought my offset spatula. So we are just going to get it nice and into the mold. And so if I was doing this at a restaurant and did not have the time crunch, I would not get this quite as cold. And it would just flow right into my mold, and I wouldn't have to do this little part. But we're going to do our Facebook Live TV magic and use this offset spatula to get everything in here. So that way I can hold up a gummy worm in a little bit.
Yay.
Right? I know, it's gummy.
It is.
I think the color is so funny to me because it like really looks like what a worm would look like.
Yeah, especially the red wigglers we have out there in the worm tub.
People are going to be watching this like, what?
What is she talking? Why is she talking
What?
about worms?
So
Worms is a form of composting. So they will eat vegetables. Worms will eat their weight in food every day.
Wow.
Now, mind you, their weight is not very much.
That's true. Yeah. It's not like a hippo.
So when you say they eat their weight every day, that's not a whole lot. But and every day they're eating that much food. So we're able to take the end pieces of cucumbers, the end pieces of zucchini, maybe the very end of some cabbage, chop it up in the food processor, and put it right in with the worms, and then we cut back on the amount of food that's going into our dumpsters.
That's amazing. And
yeah.
I mean, working at 3 restaurants simultaneously right now, man, you just start to think about how much that adds up, because there is so much food that you wind up discarding if it's things that people aren't eating off of their plates and you're getting rid of it, or really any byproduct from your prep. And I know we try really hard to use everything that you can, but even still, there is like that very end of your cucumber.
The very tip of the cucumber, or, the cabbage core.
Yeah.
You can grind that up, and it's still food. So, things that, a lot of times we forget. And so we started with 4,000 worms, and we'll have 8,000 worms at the end of next month, because they reproduce that much, that fast.
Hey.
Yeah. Careful.
There we go. And now we wait. These boogers are going to set up. If we wanted to stick them in the refrigerator, that would make them set up.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And you if you want to, you can do that. Okay. And we'll stick this in the quick freeze. No. This is great.
Because it looks so silly.
This is great. Maybe we could incorporate that into something else. You never know. But what's fun is
yeah, this one might be a little bit more set, so I can.
That's okay. Yeah. What we can do is, so when you went to culinary school.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to the French Culinary Institute in Manhattan, and it was still called the French Culinary Institute way back then, so FCI. Since I've graduated, it changed names to the International Culinary Center, and since COVID, they've actually started partnering up with ICE, which is another culinary school in New York City, and they're kind of morphing their programs together now. So I'm a little sad to see my alma mater go.
Yeah, but it's evolving. It's not really going away. It's just evolving, kind of.
That's true.
And, it's kind of like during COVID, we've all had to evolve. I mean, I didn't have the time or the energy prior to COVID to work on any of the green initiatives around here, or the things that I've been working on, like the Chef Studio. Mm-hmm. But during COVID, all events shut down. So, just like the Black Sheep Restaurant Group changed their whole business model. Right at the beginning of COVID, every single business that has come out of this has changed their business model. Mm-hmm. Now, what's it going to look like when we go back? We don't even know what that is yet.
I know.
We don't know when that is yet.
I know.
It could be 2021. We don't know. And then the positive is, as long as we keep growing and doing things that are interesting, then it doesn't matter if we're pivoting. It doesn't really matter, because we're doing things that are positive, A, for the earth, B, for all of us in general, and C, you're winning stuff on Food Network.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like when I was going up there and doing that, I really wanted to just like bring joy to Jacksonville. And this was before the thought of COVID or any of that was even here. And then when everything broke out, I was like, man, like my heart for that actually like worked out way better than what I could have even planned for. And for it to come out now, I really hope that that episode and the things that I'm doing, desserts in Jacksonville, can just be something that brings joy to people and helps people to get through this tough time.
Oh, I think there's no doubt about that. Just look at the amount of sweet shops that have grown during COVID. You know, people are looking for feel good, and you brought feel good to a whole city.
Aw.
You know, I mean, that's the bottom line.
Sugar for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you sprinkled sugar on the whole city. You know, that's awesome. You know, we often look for people that will bring us out of something, and I think at the time everybody was getting really down. And, you know, it'd been since March, since the shutdown, and now we're into August, and then boom, that happened. So it was like, wow, this is great. Good news, finally.
Good news.
You know? So we're really, really excited for you, for the Black Sheep family, for everybody that you work with, and, you know, we're just excited.
And especially with COVID and all of that, I think like, people still need to eat, and people still will eat. So it really is just a matter of pivoting to make sure that we are giving people the safest experience, because I know things seem to be shifting to just our grocery stores because people felt the safest preparing their own food. But let's be honest, the people that weren't very good at cooking before are not all that good at cooking.
They're not very good now either.
So I know, like, they still need us, and like we still want to provide that, you know, on that level that we can at the restaurant. So I think there are all of these pivots happening, and I know we're getting better at things through this trial. So, you know, every test you get your testimony, you know, that type of thing. It's like, yeah, we're going to figure it out. But I know, man, some of the struggles are real.
I hear you. I mean, you know, we've started, you know, we started the things out here at the commissary. We started all of that. And then I started the chef studio. And then, you know, we have a butterfly garden going on at home.
What?
I know. So we're doing
gummy worms, and I could have done something with butterflies.
And we have that, and then I know, right? And then, you know, it's like so many different things that became, that went from just a thought to a hobby to, hey, let's you know, build a screened room so the butterflies can flourish.
I known about this.
I know, right? So it's fun. It's really fun to watch them go from the little caterpillar to the pupa, which is the little thing, you know, and then you can actually see the wings growing inside of it. And then we release them. You know, that's Shelly's project at home.
Can I come release some butterflies?
Oh yeah, once we get, we should have some soon. So we just released some, and then we just put some back in the screen. So, you know, it's just a matter, and it's a really great project. So we're saving butterflies, we're saving bees, we're saving worms, we're saving food from going into the dumpsters. We're like on a saving mission, I guess.
I love it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But, so you think the gummies are ready?
I got that feeling.
All right, so let's check. Let's see. Ooh, it's nice and cold.
Oh, good. Ooh, yeah, it is. Okay, so this is it. And I'll actually just spray my fingers with a little bit of that nonstick spray, and we'll be able to pop these guys right out.
Yay! Look, it looks just like worms.
Who would have thought? Got our gummy worm here. I'm gonna pull out several. They're so fun. I love like the namesake, like the filthy cherry gummy worm. This one on a dirt cake I was doing at Black Sheep. I was like, oh, I just love it.
This would be great on a cherry lime margarita.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. In the bottom of your glass, if you found the worm.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't it?
love it.
What
That's
about that for a
pretty much
shot, for an event, where you do the different little shots?
Heck yes.
That would be fun.
Is this-
That's great.
So
That's great.
I brought you some worms.
Yay!
For your worms.
Worms for the worms. Thank you. This is fantastic. And thank you very much for being here and doing this with us. And, you know, in the Chef Chris studio.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, thanks for having me. This is so fun. And I just love everything that you're doing. And how cool is it that I get to meet you doing all of these things and then we get to partner up and help each other out. I mean,
Yeah, this is great.
The worms and the butterflies. No, that's like my next project.
Yeah, so now we need molds for butterflies.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm gonna like,
Monarchs.
Yes.
Lots of color, lots of
Something
fun.
that You smash a chocolate dome and a butterfly flies out.
Oh, wow.
Do
Wow,
know
you really went high
how
level.
much pent-up creativity I have within me right now. I've been making like bread pudding in to-go containers.
I hear you. I hear you. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and everybody, thanks, Rebecca. Thanks for coming, and y'all have a great day.